Hey, everybody out there. I'm Scott. I've spent years and years building up this lifetime full of stories. Um, I'm good at telling stories. I'm good at embellishing them if I have to, but this is all guaranteed 100% genuine. I do not lie when it comes to my life and who I am. Let me introduce myself. Let me qualify myself first. Back in 1968, 1 in 2,500 males were found to have autism. That's what the number was back then. Now it's something like 1 in 34 because they're getting better at detecting it. The reasons autistics get swept under the cracks, and especially back then, is because some of them are really smart. They functioned well in a school environment and group environments, and that got them under the cracks. The little bits of awkwardness and the other parts of them that just weren't right, they let pass. They didn't know what it was. They were problem children. That's what I was. So they lived their lives undetected, and the further they get, the more pressure winds up on them over the years. Eventually, they crack. Depending on the people they have supporting them, they might get through their whole life without ever having a problem. But there are many of them that live out there just like I did. They're being abused because we're easy to abuse. We trust everybody. We like friends. We don't have many because we're very socially awkward. I often used to get told, "What's wrong with you? What were you thinking?" And I'd tell them exactly what I was thinking, and they'd just shake their head. I've always felt like an alien my whole life. I felt like I didn't fit in. People told me I didn't fit in. They did tell me I was the smartest motherfucker they knew. But that wasn't good enough for them. They still abused me. Friends, family, lovers, extended family. And I took it because we're good at taking it. We've been abused all our lives, so it's a norm. Eventually, we get picked up by a narcissist. That's what happens to almost every autistic person in the history of this planet. Narcissists know who they are. They get drawn to them because autistics are good people. Narcissists, they wish they could be autistic, because what it takes to create a narcissist is a lot of abuse. A lot of abuse at the hands of people that you trust. Sometimes people that you don't trust. Narcissists are created by being told that they're not good enough. They'll never be good enough, and they'll never be important. They have the idea in their head that they might not have someplace to go. And they might not ever be okay. So years down the road, once they've grown enough, they start to develop a personality, which actually they learn to gaslight, they learn to manipulate. They're very, very charismatic. My narcissist was beautiful. People ask me, "Wow, how did you meet a girl like that?" Because she was beautiful, and I loved her. She put on such a good act, I fell in love with my narcissist. I had kids with my narcissist. And I always had hoped that she would change and she wouldn't just all of a sudden flip and turn the narrative on me. Eventually, I was discarded. And when I was discarded, I wasn't done yet. One thing about autistics is they're very resilient. If this strikes home with anybody out there, I urge you to get help. You're welcome to call me. Please call me. I can help you work through this. The end game for a narcissist, when they pick up a man like me, a man like me is not in the long-term picture, ever. And he wasn't from the start. It's a harsh reality for a man to wake up and realize that the woman he was laying next to for 25 years wanted to put a knife in his chest the whole time. And that was the plan. They have people in the wings waiting, other boyfriends. They sleep around behind your back. And even when you catch them, they turn it around and it's your fault. You start to believe it. That is a true statement. If you say something enough and you hear something enough, you'll start to believe it. That's a narcissist tactic. It's called brainwashing. There's a lot of things that you're going to learn by watching me and what I've learned and what my life has been through. I encourage everybody to share this. And if you ever hear of anybody that speaks anything of what I'm talking about, believe them. It's obvious, and I'm going to point out the things that'll show you that they're obvious. The courts know. They know, but they can't tell people how to work around it. They can't. They know who I am. They know I'm not a threat. I've been told that on my narcissist social media, she's been slandering me for years. And behind my back, she's taken my family, my mom, my sister, and she's told them things that have them believe her. It's easier for people to believe that something from your past or ways that you've acted in the past are still true. It's easier to believe that you're possibly damaged from the drugs and whatever the narcissist has told them to believe. But one thing about narcissists, they always lie. And they can't keep up with all the lies. One thing about autistics, they don't like to lie. They will in cases where it saves their life or other people's, but it pains them to lie. It pains them to watch the narcissist slander them to everyone and wind up in jail and be a support payment because an autistic man's a good man. Nice guy syndrome. I've had that all my life. They say, wow, he's a nice guy, he's a nice guy. He's a little out there. He's a nice guy. So this is all new to me. I learn more every day because in my autistic brain, I perseverate. I get stuck and I keep going through the same thoughts and PTSD. PTSD created by the narcissistic abuse is unbearable at times. Sometimes I don't want to leave my house. I don't feel safe. You never know what's next. I have zero structure. And if you know anything about an autistic man or autistic kids, they need things to be sane. They need to know what to expect. And if they don't, they're going to ask you a million questions until they're comfortable with what's changing. My whole reality has been changing for the last 6 years. That's a narcissistic tactic to try to drive an autistic man to the point where he breaks. My narcissist got there, but she had help. She had a boyfriend for years. I found it in the phone records. I'm trying to get more phone records so I can finish this up. I'm not done yet. So this is a part of me working on the smear campaign that she's created. Anybody who knows me, they believed it. Shame on you. You know who I am. You know that if I were messed up on drugs or I were delusional, I would have disappeared. And I'd probably be dead by now because my drug of choice was coke. And I would have wound up someplace worse. So, the autistic brain is a wonderful thing. People planted things in my head over the years. Great men that when I explained to them what I was going through with my narcissist, because I didn't understand it. I always went to people that I trusted and people that I looked up to. You guys know who you are. They shake their head because they couldn't answer the questions that I'd ask. And they say, no matter what happens, Scott, you got to be there for your kids. I've heard that from probably 4 great men. And it's stuck in my head. That's one thing that I have. I have rules and I live by them. The 10 Commandments, they're there. I'm not religious, but all 10 of them. Can't break them. It's rules. Live by rules. One of the rules is you can't hurt yourself or other people, Scott. You can't. So no matter how bad I want to wring some people's necks right now for doing what they've done to me and still doing what they're doing to my kids and my life, this is the way that it works. You expose the narcissist for who they are. And when everybody finally sees who that narcissist is, their world shatters. It crumbles. Do yourself a favor. Stay up with it. Research narcissists and narcissistic abuse. You'll start to see what I'm talking about. I'm going to run this channel until I die. Because people like me need help. The narcissist's endgame for someone like me is to totally destroy me, to discredit me, have me wind up in jail, and have no one believe me, no friends, no support. That's where I'm at now. I go to jail monthly for lies. The first lie was the PFA altogether. Narcissist said I was going to kill myself and my kids. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not capable of either of those things. But you know what? It made me stronger. Jail is a horrible place for people to go. You got a lot of time to think. And when you're someone like me, you're already thinking nonstop anyway. There's a lot of stuff you learn. So, everybody strap in. This is my debut. Everybody who I've talked to has heard this story. It's congruent. It hasn't changed. Why? Because it's not a lie. It's true. So, a lot of you people out there are going to be included in it. I'm not going to drop names. But you're going to know when you were in the circumstance and you were with me. After this is all over and they find out who the narcissist is, my kids and I will be safe again. We'll get to see each other. Right now I haven't seen my kids since before Christmas. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. For lies. But Scotty always has a plan. And you know that I am not going to stop. I'm relentless. And you can check my facts as I give them to you. Everything that I tell you is research. If 10 people haven't told me the same thing, I'm not going to spit it out to you as information. If I haven't lived through it, or been involved in it, or understand what it's about, I'm not going to push it on you. So please, come and see this handsome autistic man. Spend some time with me every now and then, and share it to everybody you know. You can even share it to the people that are out there still trying to destroy me, because it's going to make them wig the fuck out. People are going to start to question who they are and what they've done, because the inconsistencies and patterns, they're what I excelled at when I took the autism test. Pattern recognition. I have a photographic and videographic memory. I remember sounds. That's why I'm really good at my job. I know what a machine's supposed to sound like. I can hear across the sea of condensers on a roof. I hear the one machine that's not running right. And usually I go running to save it. And people say, what's Scott doing? Hey, he's on the jazz again. I go to fix the unit. That's what I do. I find problems and I tell you how to fix it. I've been doing it my whole life because my life's been full of problems. So, strap in, children. This is going to be fun. I hope that some of you out there learn something from it, and especially the people that know me, contact me. Tell me what you think. Call me and tell me you think I'm full of shit. But I don't think you're going to find that. I really don't. I know who I am. It took me 56 years to realize who I was. And when I realized who I was, I realized what was going on around me. That's what they tried to get to stop. They broke the machine. I had a bunch of buttons they knew how to push because they went to school for this kind of stuff. They study it. They knew how to get me to react. It's called reactive abuse. They get you to a point where you snap. And when you snap, they jump back and go, whoa, oh, see, he's crazy. See how he acts? I still stutter. I'm just starting to get back on my feet where I know who I am and I'm comfortable with who I am. And I can tell you, fuck off. You're not going to do this to me anymore. And all the people out there who are still trying and who are working for that narcissist because they're cowards, I'll still accept it back because that's what I do. It takes a lot of abuse for me to write somebody off and disown them. It took me 25 years of abuse from my narcissist until I had to tell my kids, I can't stay here anymore, guys. I feel like she's trying to kill me. That's a true story. I said, but I'll be back. Another thing that my kids were told, the last time I saw them face to face, was mommy's going to be really mad. Make sure you let her think that you love her more than me, no matter what, because I'm afraid she'll hurt you. My wife is Casey Anthony. She could kill herself and my kids. What she's accused me of, if you do the research on narcissists, what they accuse people of is usually what they're doing. She's been saying some nasty shit about me, and it really scares me that she's doing that stuff. And anybody who knows the players that aren't protected by the PFA, watch how they run. They're doing this to protect themselves. There's things that they've been doing for years to make money. They exploit my children. They still do. They use third-party alienation by talking to the therapists before I can get there. So the therapists have an inaccurate picture of who I am. But it's molded well enough that the therapist can kind of believe it. I make it a habit to go to new therapists all the time. But I figured out what they're doing. It's not hard to figure out, especially when you're like me, because I am like Columbo. I should have been a cop or a detective. I can't be corrupted. I have more integrity than most people. And I love everybody. And hold no ill will toward anybody. You have to be a real piece of shit for me to say I don't like you. So, this is to expose the people that I don't like anymore. They don't deserve people like me in their life. And when I find that they're abusing more people, I'm going to make sure that those people know it. It's been a long road, people. I didn't get an actual diagnosis because they don't have a diagnosis. They have no tests for people past the age of 8 years old. So it usually goes on things that are subjective, like family members saying, oh yeah, they did this, oh yeah, they did this, they acted like this. So that's usually what brings it over the edge and then gets you the diagnosis. My doctor was altered. My doctor was called. Somebody got to them before me, before I took the test. The lady came into the room for the oral exam to check me out, and the first words out of my mouth, she started shaking her head. She said, that's not necessarily autistic. She didn't compile anything yet and started poo-pooing on the idea that I was autistic. From what I understand, that woman no longer works there. She's a ghost. She disappeared. It's kind of weird. My therapist told me that. The therapist that I was seeing, he was kind of annoyed about that. I think he felt the way I did. Somebody tried to cover it up and make it look like I was insane, and it wasn't natural for me to be the way I am. If you do the research on autistics, which I really encourage everybody to do, because there's a lot more people that are out there that are like me, and it takes a little bit until they expose themselves as autistic. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I've had so much stress that I was going through. I messed with drugs. It was easy. I cracked. I had no friends. You probably saw the video years ago of me being on the ocean by myself. It was December. It was a cold ocean. It was black. If I would have went overboard, I wouldn't have came back out. I wasn't strong enough to pull myself back in the boat. They encouraged it. They watched it. These people hoped that I would take my own life, or I would just die and fade into the background. They also underestimated me. They didn't realize how much I love my kids. They didn't realize what lengths I would go to make sure I'm still here for my kids. I haven't stopped fighting. I haven't spent a dime in court because they won't let me make any money. They call every place I've worked. It's in the phone records. Ask for them. If you know my narcissist, ask for the phone records. Look for the numbers of my doctors and my employers. So I haven't taken this to the authorities yet. I'm still compiling as much as I can because it sounds like a whopper. But I've got enough evidence that they're going to have to look. And if you've done the research, how they exploit people that they're abusing sexually, they live stream. That's sick. They live stream to people who've already paid, and then it's gone. They do that with kids. They do that with people from other countries that come in. From what I understand, their kids, they're stolen out of custody every day, and they're used like that. My kids have been groomed. They need to get out of that. They're afraid where they're at. They don't know where their dad's at. And I'm pretty sure that Abigail's a good enough actor. She's pulling it off so her mom doesn't hurt her more. It's easier for her to act the part than try to fight it, because the narcissist is in control. It's all about control. One of my kids told me that. I hope he sees this video. I love you, buddy. That was the smartest thing I've ever heard anybody say. And you were right. Sorry. So anybody who knows, make sure this gets around as much as it can, because this is going to be a trip. Everything I say is true. You can fact check it. If you fact check it with my narcissist, of course they're not going to say that it's true. But emails don't lie. Neither do court stenographers. When they say things in court, they're recorded. And guess what? Scotty knows how to get them. Scotty already has them. Scotty knows that he can get the phone subpoenaed in another county. And in that other county is where I'm going to bring up charges. Defamation of character. Because the things my narcissist has said to people about me has cost me jobs, friends, family members, integrity. One thing that got me through all these years was I was always alone in my own head anyway, because I've always been an outcast. I was always the odd man out, made fun of, ridiculed. When the guys in gym would say, "Hey, here comes the retard," I'd say, "Where?" I didn't know that I was the joke and I was the retard. These are things that you bury when you're a kid, and you just get through life. Once I learned how to mask, which is not purposeful when you're autistic, you just learn to act the way everybody wants you to act. If anybody remembers me from school, I was in acting. I loved it because I could be anybody I wanted to be, and I was great at it. But I could never be myself because I was ostracized, picked on, and less than for being who I was. It's a harsh reality to wake up where I woke up, realizing you're in a narcissistic nightmare and you're on your way down the tubes. So, make sure people I know get this, especially people that I went to school with, anybody who knows me in my past, the AA groups, the NA groups. Make sure y'all tune in, because Scotty ain't done. I ain't going down like that. I love you all. Peace, and please call me if you're going through any of this. There's ways out of it, and we all need support through it. See you soon.